John, when you read about the Panama Papers, what was your initial thought? I mean, there must be a crossover into your business.
There is. I mean, I live in Guernsey. I actually chair the stock exchange in Guernsey. The after effects of those revelations on other offshore centres are very severe. So, yes, it worried me greatly when it came out. I was, I think, as surprised as many at the extent of what they found. Since then, there's been all kinds of comment, some of it accurate, some of it desperately inaccurate. And a lot of good has been swept out with the bad.
But John, the implications for other, I guess, tax havens is what, that you all get lumped in the same bag.
Yeah, we
that
do,
there's
which
a kind
is
of
just terrible, really, because mostly we exist tax havens, if you like. They're not low tax. They're no tax places. You might, for example, put UK pension funds through a Guernsey vehicle so they can invest in something else and not suffer a tax, which they would if we put it through a UK limited company. So it's not tax avoidance, it's just putting people back where they started. So a lot of it's taking advantage of the fact that these places have more sensible regulation actually than some of the main centres. Then you run into the most terrible difficulties in defining.
Do you think Guernsey is at risk?
Of course there's risk that there will be all kinds of wild things. You've got Vince Cable talking about direct rule. Little tricky, bearing in mind the treaties that date back to Henry VIII, but anyway. The issues are really very much more complicated. Is Ireland a tax haven? Yes. Is the UK a tax haven for non-domiciled individuals? Yes. The most secretive place pretty well on the planet now is not one of the regular tax havens. It's the state of Nevada, where you can still have total confidentiality on what you've got. So it's a very complex thing, and to lump them together really isn't right. Absolutely, people involved in sanctions busting, aggressive tax avoidance and evasion, they're a real problem, and offshore centres that want to prosper have to make sure those things don't happen. Panama clearly didn't do it.
But John, I remember covering G20s, right, where Gordon Brown was going to crack down.
Yeah.
I can't believe nothing has been done, so that everything gets now muddled together.
Well, things have been done. Actually, over the course of the years, money laundering rules, exchange of information have come in. There's much less scope for shenanigans, let alone crookedness, than there used to be, and I think it's a much rarer thing to happen. But it does still happen, but it's not just limited to Panama.
John, a quick question. I don't want to talk Brexit because we'll come to it, but is anything that is bad for Cameron good for Brexit? Or is it more, is there less of a link than we think?
I don't think there's much of a link, to be honest. Certainly it's knocking Cameron's credibility, but it's not going to make much difference to the Brexit vote, I don't think.